The MBI Jarislowsky Fraser Select Income Fund is an income balanced fund. Typically, it'll have about 40% of its holdings in equities and about 60% in bonds. Last year, the fund was a first quartile performer. It benefited from its overweight in corporate bonds, all investment grade corporate bonds. The average credit quality of the fund is A+, and the 10% weighting in preferred shares, which have performed very strongly. Obviously, the common equity holdings, particularly in Canada, benefited the fund returns as well. Going forward, we think it's an environment with a slight upward bias to interest rates. 10-year U.S. Treasuries should be within a range of 2 to 3%. The Federal Reserve is obviously raising interest rates. We expect them to continue to do that, but we think there's enough slack in the economy that you won't get immediate inflationary pressures, and there's enough momentum in the economy such that you won't see a recession from the Fed raising their interest rates. The Canadian economic outlook is a little less robust than it is in Europe or the US. Canada last year, over 1/3 of the growth in GDP came from the household sector, residential construction. We don't expect that to continue going forward. So we think it'll be a more subdued interest rate environment in Canada. Generally, though, when interest rates rise internationally, Canadian interest rates will rise as well, just not to the same extent. Corporate bonds to us look fairly fully valued. We've been reducing risk in the portfolio. Corporate bonds have gone from about 70% of the bond holdings to less than 60% of the bond holdings. We've upgraded the credit quality of the bond holdings as well. So we think we're fairly well positioned to take advantage of any short-term weakness in the market, given the relatively strong valuations that we're seeing right now in the bond market. Preferred shares still look fairly attractive to us, so we'll maintain our 10% holding there. And in general, going forward, we think it'll be a somewhat tougher environment for equities, and therefore an income balanced fund is probably more suitable to that type of environment than a pure equity fund. Thank you for your time today.